Well, hello and welcome to Orangetown, aka Raw Dog in the Counter, aka, yeah, that's my normal mat. It's just out of the way because I'm doing rope cutting tests, and I wanted to do some updates here. Since I haven't for quite a long time, but I figured it was kind of important. So, first one we got up on the table is the Meguron Velona. Or at least the first version of it here, and this is using DC53 steel. I have talked about it in the past, but it is essentially a modification to D2, but does supposedly up the edge retention on it a little bit, so there is that. I ended up getting exactly 800 cuts on this guy before I could no longer slice through paper. This one was done quite a while ago, though, so I have resharpened it up, so I couldn't really show you that thing can't cut paper anymore, because I'm pretty sure I can. Oh, yeah. So there's that. That happened quite a while back, but that's okay. The next one blew me the absolute hell away, and that is this guy right here. It's a Tucson TS-303. It's Mazwan Mokhtar design. It's an M390 steel. And this thing took forever to get dull. As you can see at the top here, I didn't really think it'd give it a huge amount that I thought it would do. Why? Because, well, Tucson isn't exactly known for their best heat treatment of M390. Some of it's okay, some of it's not okay, and then there's apparently this. So yeah, at the first run around, I got 1,200. Then I essentially got another 1,200. That put me to 2,400. Then way down here at the bottom, I have a few hundred more. And then finally kind of got around and did another 50 before it finally gave up, and it won't reliably cut through paper anymore. It'll hang up and or move right around there. But that was 2,760 cuts through this twisted sisal rope here, 3/8 of an inch. It's basically 9.48 millimeters, if I remember right. I might be wrong on that, but I did the math at one point. So yeah, that thing just blew me away, just how much it ended up cutting. So that was pretty interesting. It's not a bad knife. It's not my favorite from Tucson, but hey, it certainly performs up there. This is basically the highest performing knife that I've seen so far. Okay, let's talk about another one that I just recently finished. This is the TS-386. It's another Tucson. This one is in AUS-10 steel. AUS-10 is essentially it's chemically basically about the same as 440C and or 9CR18 MOV. It's just manufactured from a Japanese manufacturer. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I want to say Matsushita, but I'm probably completely wrong on that, so strike that from the record. Either way, they've basically made this particular knife using it, and there's been 1 or 2 kitchen knives that they'd also basically used for it. But yes, as we can see here, I just basically got through 500 cuts on this before it, well, sure, I'm well past the 1 minute mark. Before the edge shit the bed. Yeah, it will kind of hang up there pretty reliably. So, yeah, 500 cuts on that. Not quite as good as their D2. Not that I was expecting that it was going to be as good as their D2. D2 definitely holds its edge a lot better than 440C does. However, I still do like this version of the knife more than the D2 version with the, well, for one, thicker blade stock and thicker G10 handles and stuff like that. This one's just a little more slimline. But I did have this sharpened to a 20-degree edge rather than 17 or 15 that I do on the higher end cutlery, because that's generally where I end up putting 440C and 428C. It is right around 20. That seems to do well. And that does not exactly transfer into a wonderful cutting experience through the twisted sisal rope. I find I need a lot more pressure than I do, even at 17, but hey, 15's fantastic for it. So, there's that. Let's see, the next one that I want to talk about is the Spyderco Native M4. This is one from Blade HQ that has, well, they did the lightweight. It's not G10, so it's not Jade G10, but they still wanted to go with kind of a minty thing. They threw a stick of Wrigley's gum in the box for it, which was kind of a stupid idea. I understand what they're going for. Yeah, it kind of looks like a little bit of a chewing gum spearmint kind of thing. But this is M4, and so they had to package these things with desiccant packets in there. You know, silica gel. And because of that, even though these things were only like packaged up maybe a month or two ago, because these things are quite new, that stick of gum crumbled like it came out of a pack of baseball cards that were 20 years old. So, yeah, it was cute idea, but I don't think it was necessary. Either way, this one got 990 cuts out of it, which is, it's pretty good. Generally not exactly what I would expect from being, you know, an edge retention juggernaut, but it's a far cry from the other M4 that I have in the Spyderco Manix 2 that ended up doing about 70 cuts before it gave up. So I will definitely give it that. But between those two, it's kind of my experience that M4, it's an interesting blade steel. It's not stainless whatsoever. So if you are worried about that, they did make the same amount with a blacked blade as well, but to help protect against that stuff. But this stuff is, I think, really known for its toughness. Not necessarily it being the absolute edge retention king. It did a pretty decent job, but it only cut about 10 more than this Velona here in DC53. And hey, this one's a $42 knife. This one was $130. Well, I think after taxes, yeah, right around 132 or something like that. Obviously, it's an American-made thing. Also, one other thing I do want to cover on this. This is a native lightweight. And I didn't necessarily know there was a difference on some things. I do have a native chief. And unfortunately, it's not right in front of me. It's in another room in some drawers out there. But that's in G10 and stuff like that. This one is... yeah, it's just the FRN there, and there's no liners whatsoever. That's what they end up doing with a lot of their lightweight series. And between that and the blade shape difference, I guess, between the old the old Native that I used to have, I don't necessarily know if I like this Native 5 lightweight all that much. For one, that blade comes down a lot quicker than the Native 4 that I had did. So it looks a lot more like a Para 3, necessarily, instead of that full leaf-shaped blade that I was kind of used to with the Native 4 there. With it not having liners, that actually did worry me a little bit while I was doing the cutting down on here. It doesn't really show up on the camera so much, but I can actually feel kind of the lockback moving and things like that in there. And it's just a little bit looser and stuff compared to the Native 4 that I had, that also had FRN handles, but had steel liners on it. It was also an S30V, you know, it was the standard one. But yeah, I mean, that one also had the single barrel screw for the clip, which actually kind of sucked. You had to use a coin to kind of adjust that and stuff. That was the only thing I really didn't like about it. But everything else I actually preferred to this particular version here. So yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's the native lightweight that I don't necessarily like, or if it's just I don't like the direction that the natives have gone altogether. Overall, though, still fairly comfortable. The jumping is aggressive as all hell, which I suppose, you know, that makes sense. But yeah, you definitely have to be ready for that. And there's obviously some discoloration from when they were actually grinding and that in there. And it actually, at least on the blade, looks just a little bit lopsided compared to being fully straight. But I can kind of understand that because M4 is not an easy steel to machine, and that's exactly what that was doing. So, yeah, just kind of some thoughts there. So this does redeem Spyderco's M4 compared to the Manix 2XL that I have, but still, it's fairly middle of the road, and not stainless in any way, shape, or form. So you really got to watch it unless you actually want to have the blade patina. And then, hey, you're golden with that. Okay, and the last one here. I have not finished it yet. Whoops, there we are. This is a TS-162 from Wong, Tucson. This is the original one at S90V, but obviously you can see by the fact that it's got the number of the or the model number on the blade and all that. This is a fairly new make. This one came out, I think I ended up winning the auction for it maybe November or December of 2021. So quite a bit newer than you know, the first runs of these. But yes, I'm currently at 1,100 cuts on there, and yeah, this guy doesn't seem to be slowing down. So hopefully it's still got a lot of life left on him, which is great, because I've also had some older, albeit S90V from Tucson that really didn't perform all that well, like maybe around 440C kind of levels or so. So it's good to see this one do that, and especially because I really like this model. I know it looks really strange, kind of looks like a funky ass banana, and it is basically nothing but belly. But man, this thing's ergonomics are fantastic. It's got a great sharpening choil, especially from Wong. I would not call that a finger choil because that dude's got some enormous digits like me, so this wouldn't really suit him. So it's got a nice and proper sharpening choil to it, I will say that. Yeah, just really comfortable in the hand. Amazing action going on for it. Fun to deploy in a lot of different ways, all that sort of stuff. This is, yeah, it's a fantastic knife. Yeah, that's basically the ones that I wanted to cover here. So I got 880 cuts out of a DC53 from Miguron. I got 2,760 cuts out of M390 here from Tucson. This also by far takes the crown of the strongest edge that I've personally tested thus far, that beating out the Tucson and S110V that was already really impressive. Then we have a Tucson and AUS-10, which does about 500 cuts here before it won't slice the paper. And we got the Spyderco Native and M4 that did 990 cuts. Nothing to sneeze at, but I did kind of expect just a little bit more, but oh well. And of course, yeah, this guy that's still going strong here with 1,100 cuts on the S90V. Yeah, I haven't done a cut test update for a long time. I've kind of gotten lazy and hadn't been doing these for a bit. And then just recently ran out of twine, but or sisal rope, whatever. And yeah, I got another couple of packs of these, so I'm back in it. So I should hopefully be continuing on with these guys. I don't necessarily know what I want to test next, but I'm sure I'll find something interesting to do. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Subscribe, please.